So in our last story here, we have the Sacramento Unified School District has been pushing radical gender theory in its classrooms for at least a decade, according to documents. So some people, this is news. For me, I got my master's in 2013. Starting 2014, I already knew all this stuff was going on. So a lot of stuff that's described here, I had experienced myself in the public school system working in California. Okay. So you old folks here that have been around for a while know what I'm talking about. The documents obtained by writer and activist Christopher Rufo show the Sacramento Unified School District has been pushing teachers and school administrators to adopt the core tenets of radical gender theory since at least 2012. I had a buddy that went to Long Beach State that had this type of stuff pushed on him, and he teaches chem and physics, and they were trying to sit there and push gender theory even within chem, and he's like, how the hell do I do that? You want me to talk about lesbians in chemistry? So they've been pushing this stuff even before 2012. It's just being brought to light finally after a freaking decade. Training materials and presentations obtained by Rufo encourage LGBTQ teachers to openly express their sexuality while pushing straight teachers to self-discriminate, hiding their sexuality in favor of being an ally to LGBT teachers. The documents also encourage teachers to take similar steps to become allies of transgender students, as well as Rufo reported. Sacramento Unified had been working on this for a decade. This comes from a Twitter thread that actually showed the report within itself. In 2012, the district invited academic queer theorist Elizabeth Meyer to conduct a leadership presentation on how to launder queer pedagogy into the K-12 system and create sexual diversity. I've talked about this on my channel many of times where we had people brought in that talked about the transgender queer stuff. The school cytologists would bring trainers. I mean, we were given pamphlets, paperwork. We're all in the cafeteria staff. And I've always commented, and I always share this, that it was hilarious watching the science department, because I'm a mathematics teacher. We're watching the science department, like literally trying to like turn the papers upside down because they couldn't understand non-binary. They couldn't understand that there's multiple genders. They couldn't understand all this stuff. It was hilarious on that end. The trainings themselves just were miserable to go through. Look, I will treat students with the utmost respect. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in the classroom. I just want to do my job. I just want to teach them. That's all I care about, is that you get out of my class with a great grade and you had a good time, and that, you know, you thought I was a good teacher. I'm not there to make your life miserable. I'm not there to do anything. I love teaching. I love my job. I can't say that clear enough, because I know there's Democrat and leftists out there that go, this guy has a conservative show and you know, just imagine what he's saying in the classroom. No. I teach my math. I do my job, and that's it at the end of the day. And that's what I also want to talk about here is there's a lot of Democrats and stuff that get on TikTok and they say crazy things, and they're teachers. I still don't think that some of them should lose their job, because if you support that type of way of thinking, depending on what they say, right? But there's going to be people on the other side of the aisle that think that I should lose my job then as a teacher for the things that I say, even though I think I actually am a good teacher. I think I do my job really well. I don't indoctrinate them with anything conservative or Republican ideas. The things that I say on the show, I do not talk about in the classroom. I teach strictly mathematics. I don't talk about gender. I don't talk about conservatism. I don't talk about politics unless we're in finance, where there's taxes that's going to hurt your pocketbook, or it's going to hurt you in some way, shape, or form for retirement or whatever it may be. Of course, there's certain ideas that get brought up in there, but for the most part, I don't talk about any of this stuff in the classroom. It's not appropriate. They're not my kids, like my actual biological kids. That's up to the parents to subscribe whatever morality and stuff they want on them. So I just want to make that clear, because I'm worried that one day I might lose my job, a job that I love. I love inculcating mathematical values in students and helping them, because I struggled with math. I struggled with math severely in high school. And so if I can help them become successful in mathematics as well as finance, they can be millionaires later on in life, I've done my job. And by the way, millionaires, regardless of if somebody's trans, gay, black, white, Asian, I don't care who you are. I just want you to be successful. I want you to thrive in the greatest country God has ever made. But it's always that fear in the back of my mind that I'm going to lose my job one day because somebody's going to clip something I say. And all of a sudden people are going to be like, well, he must say that in the classroom too, because we sometimes do that with the Democrats and progressive left on TikTok and stuff, who are saying all this queer gender theory stuff. Not all of them should be fired. If they're pushing on kids, then there's a conversation to be had there. But we can't always jump to say, hey, that person doesn't agree with me, so we should fire them. That I don't agree with. I don't subscribe to. I'm sorry. If you do, I guess that's your opinion. I don't always agree with it, but anyways, let's move on. Rufo also included photos of the Sacramento's Unified School District official website showing a presentation from Meyer, who at the time was a professor of education at California Polytechnic State University, as a keynote address for their No Time to Lose 2012 conference. The presentation included in the documents of Rufo attained. In the presentation, Meyer provides teachers with tools to inculcate schools with a LGBT-friendly environment. On an individual basis, Meyer instructs teachers to watch educational LGBT films and documentaries, or to attend an event sponsored by a local GLBT advocacy organization and invite a colleague to view the film or to attend the event with them. At a classroom level, Meyer encourages teachers to challenge your own assumptions about LGBT students, to use inclusive language such as parent or guardian or partner or spouse, and avoid gender-specific language and assumptions in class activities. Like I said, this has actually been going on probably around 2008, 2009 in the terms of these institutions, whether it be college or high school, trying to transition away from using gender. So what you're expected to use, and this is what I use in the public school system just so I didn't get in trouble, I would use the word everyone. So I would never say boy or girl or hey guys. I would just say everyone, just so I didn't get fired for hurting somebody's feelings or saying something, oh, you misgendered me or you mispronoun me. I say everyone. I try to call them by the name that they want just so I don't lose my job. It's crazy, folks. I mean, the education system is just completely crazy. A lot of you haven't been back to school in 10 plus years. It's nothing like you remember. Trust me. You sit in there for a day, you're going to be like, what the hell is going on? This is not what I remember. It's chaos. It is chaos. Furthermore, the presentation instructs straight teachers to self-discriminate. If you're a heterosexual, don't state it. It says, allow yourself to be an ally while allowing others to be uncertain about your sexual orientation. In other words, shut the hell up so we can run the show, so we can sit there and push our gender ideologies while you just zip it. Lovely. I mean, that's not what they're saying, right? But that's what they're implying. Meanwhile, it encourages LGBT teachers to openly express their sexuality. If you are GLBT, consider coming out to your employer. And if you get their support, your student/school, the presentation says. In either case, it encourages teachers to actively include issues relating to sexual orientation and gender identity in your classes, and to invite GLBT or LGBTQ. I think there's just an error here in the way that they're writing this, because I've never heard of GLBT. I've heard of LGBT, so I think there's just an error in this article. But this article also cites quotes, which is weird, right? Because if you have somebody that's pushing LGBTQ stuff, you would think that they know how to spell LGBTQ, but they're putting GLBT. Somebody help me with this. Unless you're just switching around acronyms, I can't keep up anymore. I mean, literally with all these pronouns, this gender ideology, things are changing. You literally can't keep up because it actually changes every day. One day you could say queer, the other day you can't. It's head spinning. It's mind blowing. At a school level, the presentation encourages teachers to confront name calling, or to stop and educate students in public areas such as hallways, cafeterias, bathrooms, and locker rooms. It also directs teachers to help establish a gay-straight alliance or other gender diversity groups in schools. We've actually talked about the GSA before. These are also the groups that will sit there and basically have certain group members of the club just invite their friends without their friends knowing what the club is about, and then start indoctrinating them with these values. There was a mom that came out on Fox News that said, yeah, my daughter was coming home. She started questioning her sexuality. We didn't know why. We couldn't figure it out. Well, it turns out she was part of this club and nobody knew. No, though the friend didn't even know what was going on. So the GSA that's all around is just completely doing some shady stuff sometimes. I mean, the whole thing in my mind, in my opinion, is shady. It's kind of odd, but they've done some really, in my opinion, done some harmful things to some kids. Like I said, basically grooming them, bringing them into these clubs without them knowing, and doing some other shenanigans. Lastly, furthermore, it directs teachers to work with students and other teachers to organize Day of Silence or a No Name Calling Week, invite community members to work on the Safety and Equity Task Force, ask school librarians to create a display of books and resources on sex, gender, and sexual orientation, integrate sex and gender issues into their curricula, and invite outside presenters to speak on sexuality issues. Isn't that just lovely? Isn't that what you want your kids spending time on, folks? I mean, you can have these conversations with your own children, but no. They would rather have random strangers come on campus to inculcate certain values into your kid. I almost said students, into your kids, into your children that you might not want. That's just lovely. Because remember, the school system knows better, right? The teachers always know better than you do. Now, sometimes that is actually true, right? In mathematics, the way that certain things are ran, standards, and the way things should be taught, you would like to hope that the person that has a master's in teaching, or at least a master's in mathematics, or whatever it may be, would probably know how to teach your kids best. Not this stuff, though. This is weird. I mean, when you're teaching your somebody else's kid about sex and weird stuff like that, I'm just sorry, it's not my thing, which is why I'm gonna teach math, and I will stick to it. I ain't straying outside of that. No way, no how. With that being said, folks, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this Friday episode. We have Supernatural Saturday coming up tomorrow. We have a little sprinkling of politics on Sunday, and then we're going to be back here Monday with the Bald Brad Show. As always, hop on the bandwagon, hit that like and subscribe button. Throw some comments down below, folks. Help us out here. Let's have a little bit of fun. Tell each other good morning, and folks, have a lovely weekend. I will see you here tomorrow for Supernatural Saturday and Monday for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.